Mayor Pete does not have white papers on his website. I guess this is a new thing with some of the Democratic candidates. They don't even have policy positions on their campaign website. You want to learn more about them. There's nothing about them on their website. So we had to, troll through everything that he said to find out his positions. And man, stacking the Supreme Court, abolishing the Electoral College, amnesty for illegal aliens who came to our country clearly by breaking our laws, giving D.C. statehood, Medicare for all, although he's on the fence about whether we should abolish private insurance, praising Mayor Bloomberg's soda ban. He's also in favor of the Equality Act. He thinks we need to act in a radical way on climate change. He criticized the president's personal faith. He said he doesn't think that President Trump believes in God based on his policy prescriptions. These are really radical things.
Sure, and particularly, some of the ones I want to highlight out of the list that you just gave, as you said, the abortion position I think will hurt him. The Equality Act stuff I think will hurt him, especially with a general electorate, not necessarily with the primary electorate. But it's interesting because, as we know, there's going to be a key battleground region in the United States. It's going to be the Midwest. It's going to be the Rust Belt, right? And I think there's a lot of evidence that there are plenty of voters in Wisconsin and Michigan who are actually the reverse of what Mayor Pete is sort of selling himself as, which is he has said that, for example, he believes in capitalism, although he believes we need to make lots of changes, but separates him from, for example, Bernie Sanders, who calls himself a socialist. But he is quite radical on social issues. There's a lot of evidence, I think, that those voters in the Rust Belt are sort of the reverse. They're very open to critiques of the capitalist system, and sort of big government economic policy is quite popular there. But there are a lot of voters who nevertheless retain a certain, I don't even want to say social conservatism, but, social sanity in that Rust Belt. And that's a large reason, I think, of why they swung to President Trump. They don't like this identity politics stuff. They don't like radical late-term abortion policies, all of those kinds of things. So it seems to me that he's kind of got a mismatch for a key demographic there, which is he comes off or attempts to portray himself as relatively moderate on issues of economics, but comes off quite radical on issues, social issues and cultural issues. And I actually think that's not a winning combination in the Rust Belt.
No, that's a really interesting analysis. But even if you listen to what he says when he's explaining his economic policy, it actually appears to be more similar to Bernie Sanders than to the free market capitalist policies of the Republican Party. He just doesn't want to put a label on it, I think, because he doesn't want to be labeled as a socialist because he wants to win the Midwest.